and welcome to Pricing College with your hosts Aidan Campbell
and Joanna Wells.
In today's episode, we want to cover that seemingly very simple question, but something that's fundamental in pricing. What is cost plus pricing?
Yes, a lot of businesses use cost plus pricing. It's a very common price setting method and technique. We won't go into a lot of detail about the weaknesses of cost plus pricing, but we will discuss what it is.
That's right. I think certainly the obvious flaws or problems potentially with cost plus pricing is something we'll cover in not one future episode, but I assume many. But what we'll cover today is the pluses of it, how it's done, and why it is seemingly very efficient and makes sense to so many people.
Yeah, so I suppose in a very simple way, it's really a markup on your costs, fixed and variable costs.
That's right. Some people say a markup, other people try to capture a certain margin, but fundamentally it means if you buy an apple for $1, you sell it for $2. You make a profit on each item you sell, and at the end of the day, that's very sensible business. Obviously, as you get more complex in business, you might not want to make the same profit on every apple, but if you're selling 1,000 apples on average, you want to make a profit on each one you sell.
Yeah, so if you're pretty confident about your cost position, then cost plus makes sense. It's just perhaps when markets change, it becomes a little bit more tricky, but we won't get into that right now.
Fundamentally, cost plus pricing really makes sense in a very simple business. There could be a trading business, an arbitrage style business where you buy a commodity and you sell it with very limited value add. In that context, if you're a price taker from purchasing, it can make perfect sense, especially if you have limited ability to influence the price you're selling it at.
I suppose if it's not a bad technique to use, maybe in a retail business as well, a small retail business, you've got a relatively few products that you're selling, you know your costs. It's not a bad approach, a first step into setting prices.
I think also in this episode we'd like to cover why is it so popular, why is it so accepted in the business community. And often if you talk to people who are not pricing professionals, cost plus pricing is what springs to mind. I'll go first on this one because I'm actually an accountant by trade previously, and it really does appeal to accountants and financial professionals who love looking at costs, P&Ls and balance sheets.
In many regards, I think it's used because it was the first pricing method ever existed. 99% of businesses use cost plus pricing. That's what people are used to. And so maybe it's used because it's a tradition, a convention, a management convention. And some people don't know that there are other things out there too. I don't know, Aidan, you're the accountant. What do you think?
Thanks for reminding me. I suppose in accountancy, there is a real dedication to numbers and the seeming solidity that numbers give. So if a CEO grills a CFO, they want to know why decisions are being made. And basing things on a cost plus method gives it solidity, makes it seem sensible, certainly to people who do not have a marketing, a sales approach or mindset. And of course, without trying to bash certain professions here, certain professions are more focused on value, marketing, sales than others, and I think that's fundamentally it.
What it appears to be quite a rigorous, logical approach. Is that what you're saying?
That's basically it. It's the appearance of a rigorous approach. Whether that really makes sense or not, I don't think matters. But I think we're straying into some negative territory, which I think we'll leave for a future episode.
But it's good to find out where this convention started and why people are so dependent on it. And I don't think that's a negative.
No, I take your point. So I think we'll leave it there for today.
Yeah, that's great. We'll carry on with this discussion later.
Thanks again. Bye.
Bye. Thanks a lot.